When we think about the month of March roaring in like a lion, it really holds true for those of us who like to garden. And that's because the lion's share of our yearly garden chores begins this month. We've got beds to clean up, areas to get prepared, gardens to plan, seeds to sow, and some stuff to get pruned back. Just a wealth of activities that we need to get geared up for. We're here to share some garden tips for the month of March. Our studio garden manager, Laura Payne, and consumer horticulturist, David Hillock.
Along with the warming of our spring temperatures, also come our springtime weeds. In the bare soil areas of our vegetable garden and our flower beds, it is important that we get out there and control these weeds while they are young, before they mature and start producing seed. You can do this by hoeing or tilling, or you can also mulch, but keep in mind if you mulch, it'll keep your soil temperatures from warming up as fast. Make sure when you're working in your garden that your soil is not too wet first. A simple test you can do is make a ball and then drop it. If the soil breaks up, it is fine to work with. If it holds together, it's still too wet and you can ruin your soil structure. It's a good idea to take down our birdhouses and clean them out before our new spring tenants arrive. You'll want to remove any old nesting material from them. Wash them with a mild soap and water. It's also a time of year that we can take some cuttings of some flowering trees and shrubs for indoor forcing. Some to choose from are the forsythia, the lilac, the flowering quince, crabapple, or deciduous magnolias. Once you take these cuttings, you'll want to take them indoors, run them under warm water, and cut them at a slight angle. And then in a week or two, you should have a beautiful bouquet.
Many homeowners enjoy being able to walk out their door and pick fresh fruits off their trees. If you are interested in planting fruit trees this year, now is an excellent time to do that, especially the bare root trees such as this one here. These are readily available in the garden centers now, and now is the time to get those in the ground before growth begins. Now, fruit trees can be somewhat of a challenge to grow in Oklahoma. We have the warm temperatures and the high humidity, and that's often excellent conditions for disease development. So if you're really interested in maintaining and producing fruit in your garden, you really need to get on a good spray program, and that usually begins right now in the dormant period of many of our fruit trees. We have a lot of diseases that show up in the spring, and you need to apply many of your fungicides and bactericides before those diseases begin to develop. One of our most common diseases is the peach leaf curl, and that attacks peaches and nectarines. And often we get calls in the spring when the symptoms appear. The leaves are twisted and distorted, and then people want to spray something on it to control the disease. Well, by then it's too late. Now is the time to put on a lime sulfur spray or a copper-based fungicide to help control that disease. You need to put it on before the leaves begin to emerge on the tree. Now, another disease that we often have problems with is fire blight, and that attacks apple and pear trees. And that can also be controlled with fungicides or pesticides, copper-based, or even better yet, a bactericide, because this is a bacterial disease, and such as streptomycin. And that should be applied to the trees when the leaves are emerging, because that's when the disease is most active. Now is also a good time to control insects on trees and shrubs that are dormant in your landscape. There are many insects that will hibernate during the wintertime and hide on the cracks and crevices of your trees and shrubs. And dormant oil sprays are geared to control those types of insects. And now is a good time to do that spray. Actually, we're getting towards the end of it. We want to hurry up and get those on before the temperatures begin to warm up too much. Now be sure to read and follow label directions, because some of the evergreen types of plants are not labeled for use. You cannot spray the dormant oil on that because you can cause damage to those plants by using dormant oils. Now, if you also have beds like these where you have trees and shrubs planted in areas where there's no turf, you want to put down a nitrogen fertilizer now to help provide extra growth this spring. Apply 1 pound per 1,000 square feet. Now, in the cool season grasses, we can still control a lot of our weeds that are still appearing. We have our perennial weeds as well as our winter annual weeds, broadleaf weeds that may be in your turf grass, and you can control those still with a broadleaf post-emergence type of herbicide. We want to do that also as quickly as possible, because as we start getting into the warmer parts of the spring, new growth begins to appear, the winds might pick up some more. Then we can have higher risk of damaging those other plants in the landscape using 2,4-D types of products. So you want to do that as soon as you can. Now, this is also an excellent time to put down pre-emergence herbicides to control any summer annual weeds that might pop up, such as crabgrass and some of the other annual weeds. Late February and into early March would be an excellent time to put down that first application of a pre-emergence herbicide. This is also the time to put down an application of fertilizer for your turf areas, your cool season grasses anyway. Put down 1 pound per 1,000 square feet. And if you're going to apply, or if you want to establish a cool season grass or overseed your cool season grasses, now is a good time to do that as well. The best time is in the fall. This is the second best time. But if you do it now, then you can get the grass seeds sprouted and growing and established before the warm weather hits.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.